Welcome to Law Easy. My name is Marty Schenkman, and I'm joined for this video clip by Michael Richmond from the DAC, D-A-K Group Limited in
Rochelle Park,
New Jersey. I know it's an R, but I can't remember the name for the life of me. Topic for this video clip is, should you sell your business now or should you wait? Great topic, affects lots of clients. I want to start this with a client that we had shared that you may still be working with. Just because it's such a classic story, and everybody, whether you're a business owner, estate planner, trust officer, everybody has seen this way too many times. The guy came to us. How old was he when he first came to me?
82.
And now how old is he?
He must be 87 now.
And when he came to me, he's like the key figure in the business. He's the guarantor of all the loans to the business. He's the personality of the business. He's the face of the business. He's the business, right? And in his 80s, his reaction was,
I'm too young to sell.
I'm too young to sell. And that was 5 years ago. Correct. Now he's perhaps 87, 88.
I guess he was right, Marty, at the time.
Right.
He was a young 82.
We as advisors, and if you're a client listening, don't be offended, but we need to help educate and inform clients and help them get realistic about getting succession plans in place. I think 87, 88, it's kind of overdue.
I would think it's about time now, but
We'll see.
We'll see.
So, should you sell or wait? Too often clients defer, and it's a mistake. Now, you made an interesting point when we were chatting before about business cycles and timing. Why don't you elaborate on that? Because I think it's a very interesting point about timing a sale of a business.
Sure. I think there's two cycles to consider. One is the personal business cycle that you're in, and second of all, where we stand in the economic cycle.
Right.
Let's take the first one first. Where are you in your business cycle? Is your business in a rapidly growing phase where you're seeing each year double-digit growth, and this you expect to continue? It may not make sense to sell your business and to achieve some of that growth. On the other hand, if you see your earnings starting to flatten out, and
back to single
to grow,
digits.
but continuing to grow, you may say, well, I still have some growth in it. I want to sell at the peak.
How often do people identify the actual peak?
First of all, they never do, Marty.
Okay,
I got to tell you, they never really do. And let me. Even if they do identify correctly, buyers are not looking to sell on historical numbers. They're looking. I'm sorry, to buy on historical numbers. They're looking for the future.
Right.
So if they see a company's peaking, they're going to pay less for that. And the key is really to make the case for value and get paid for that. So if you have good future growth, if you make the case and convince a buyer that growth is coming and they're confident about that, you should get paid for that. So again, these are things that you should be discussing with professionals. A lot of people make mistakes in that area, and the biggest mistake is waiting too long.
I think it's interesting because as an estate planner, when I discuss succession planning with clients that have business interests, I tend to focus on health issues, possible health issues, because if clients are healthy, they tend to discount that. Potential of aging issues, like the client we talked about. But that's another very significant factor. So if a client feels they may have a good few years left, depending on your comments about the business cycle, which you really need to bring in an investment banker to help evaluate that, that may push them to the point, or should push them perhaps to the point of selling because of the timing, which is yet another facet to it that is often maybe not addressed by estate planners. So I think that's a great point that we should all be looking at.
But let me just make
Sure.
one point about that, Marty. And it relates to the economic cycle as well. Businesses decline in value in a downturn. So if we're in the early stages of a recovery, there's really no rush to sell. If you're in the later stages of a recovery, and the business and the economic cycle turns down, two things happen. One is earnings decline, and second of all, multiples decline. So those are factors that have to be considered as well. Early stages of a cycle, there's probably less urgency. Later stages of a business cycle, you really want to consider, because these cycles tend to last 5 or 7 years. If you miss a cycle, you have to wait again.
And that's very important, because if we're looking at the age of a client, maybe the client's of an age where they want to work another 5 or 10 years. But if the business cycle is at a point where it may be changing to the negative, can they wait out what you just said, another 5 to 7 years for things to turn back around?
Well, I want to take off on a point you just mentioned, because business owners may say, well, I'll work and I'll sell when I'm ready to get out. And that's a mistake. Buyers want to look for the existing owners to help transition a company to maximize the value. So, we advise our sellers to offer to stay on for a transition period. Generally they want 3 years. I'm not saying they will stay for 3 years, but that's something that should be put on a table. Different buyers will look for different transition length, different periods of transition. But the key is that you can't sell a company and leave. And business owners make that mistake as well.
One of the comments you made that I want you to talk about, because I see it so often. Not often do the clients admit it, but the business is my life. Like, how can I sell? What would I do?
Exactly.
They may not admit it, but they're working 9 days a week.
Well, we'll have clients say, look, I don't play tennis, I don't play golf. Yes, we go on vacation for 2 weeks with my wife. We have a great marriage, but she wants me home for dinner, not for lunch. We advise clients, there are multiple opportunities now that sellers have. It used to be you sell your company and you're gone. Now with private equity, there's a way of taking some risk off the table, some money off the table, protecting your family, but continuing to work for the buyer for several years.
That's great. So a lot more options and flexibility. Any final comments on timing or when you want to sell your business?
Don't make a mistake of selling as a result of one of the 3 Ds. And unfortunately, it's just death, divorce, or disability. You want to control your destiny and plan the right exit strategy.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you for joining us. Please bear in mind that the video clips are for educational purposes only. Don't take any business, economic, financial, legal decisions based on the video clips. Thank you.
Thank you.